Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the new products that are available from Isamaya, and these products are available both through Sephora and through the Isamaya website. And about a year ago I did try out some of the Isamaya products, and in particular I tried out their lip balms, and I was really impressed with that lip balm formula, enough so that I did a full video on those lip balms, and I did end up purchasing all of the different shades that they have available. And so I am really happy to see that these are going to be more widely available to people through Sephora, and they are in new packaging, and there are some new shades in those lip balms, so I was happy to see that. And then in addition, there are a bunch of new products that are being introduced, and so I am happy to have had a chance to try out some of those new products as well. And so the products that I have tried out so far include this color correcting serum, and I have this in the color Lilac. And then I also have their 5-point concealer, and I have this in the color Fair. And I have one of their blush and highlighting balms, and this one is in the color Saffron, and it is called the Skin Enhancing Duo. And then I also have one of their lip liners, and this is in the shade Bourbon. And then I also have two of their metallic lip balms. So I have one in the color Pantomime, and I have this one, which is in the shade Burnt Coral. And I have their red lip balm, which is in the shade Cardinal, and that is a bright red color. And then I also have all of their shades of their regular lip balms, and these are available in the different shades are called Justice, Mortal, Thorns, Follow, Flamingo, Vanity, and Retrograde. And then in addition to all of these products, Isamaya has introduced quite a few other different products that I've been thinking about picking up, and so I have been spending some time looking at what those products seem to be promising to provide in terms of performance and also at their ingredient lists, and so I can talk to you about those products as well. And so first, a little bit of information about me. I am 60 years old, and I have dry and very sensitive skin. And over the past 4 years, I've tried well over 1,000 makeup and skincare products, most of them on the high-end side. And so I do have a pretty good basis of comparison for everything that I try out on this channel. And in addition to being interested in products that perform well for me and that help me to look a little bit fresher and a little bit younger, I also am interested in products that do not take a lot of time to put on and that can be pretty reliable for me. And one thing that I have found out is that there are certain ingredients that always do irritate my very sensitive skin, and I know that these ingredients tend to be very irritating for many other people as well, so I just don't talk about products with those ingredients on this channel. And fortunately, most of the products that are available through this Isamaya line do look okay in terms of their ingredient list, so that does make me really interested in the line. And so now let's talk a little bit about Isamaya. And so she is a makeup artist who is from England, and she is in her mid-30s, and her full name is Isamaya French, which has 2 F's at the beginning of it. And so she has been a makeup artist since maybe around 2014 or so, and she has done a lot of different editorial type makeup looks for places like Vogue. And she is supposed to be known for having a focus on facial art and decoration that challenges conventional beauty norms. And so some people have suggested that she is the industry's most subversive makeup artist, and that she thinks of herself as a visual artist, and that she is using the body as a basis for creating works of art and for stretching the limitations of beauty. And she seems to be especially well known for having worked with Madonna, and then she's also worked with some other well-known people, including Bella Hadid, Bjork, Rihanna, and Kylie and Kendall Jenner. And then in terms of makeup collections, she originally developed the makeup collections for Byredo, and she also worked as the global beauty director for Burberry Beauty, and she's also worked with some other companies as well, including Tom Ford and YSL and Christian Louboutin. And in terms of her own company, she launched this in 2022. And to my understanding, the original concept of this company is that it was going to be a little bit like the fashion industry, and that every year she was going to launch a couple of different collections that would all be limited edition and that would all be kind of having a theme and to be a little bit on the avant-garde side, and that would just be around for a limited period of time and then would totally go away. And so she did this for a year or so, and so there were several different collections of products that were released. And so, for instance, the first collection was called the Industrial Collection, and so it had a palette of eyeshadows that were pretty much on the sparkly side that did get a lot of good reviews from people. And then there was a Wild Star collection, which had an equestrian theme to it. And then a little bit less than 2 years ago, Isamaya came out with a line of lip balms and a lipstick. And these were in really expensive metal packaging, and the metal cases were in the shape of male genitalia. And I do think that that was a release that you could argue was kind of on the vulgar side. But I think that in terms of the reactions that I have seen towards that, I think a lot of people did react in a way that was a little bit more negative than I would have anticipated, in terms of taking offense at the whole concept or viewing it in a really scornful way, or actually expressing sort of hostility towards the whole concept. And that has made me think a little bit about some other issues that I have been going on with regard to relationships between, for instance, young men and young women, including things like the fact that women being much more likely to be going to college than young men are, and with regard to there being a really high percentage of men at this point that are not dating or getting married or having sex at all, and that if they are focused on sex, that it is through porn and through the ways that relationships have been played out through the Me Too movement, and about the fact that women and men, in terms of their politics, tend to be a lot more disparate than they used to be in the past, and that men often are Republican and are not telling women that they're Republican because they feel that they are not going to be accepted if they admit that, and about the fact that generally in society, places where men are not in stable and good relationships with women, and where there are more single men, tend to be societies where there is a lot more violence. And so all of those are things that kind of concern me personally. And so I think that in terms of Isamaya being a real artist, I think that the fact that she was able to create this, what I consider to be a fairly simple lipstick case, and to prompt that much reaction among so many different people, and to have caused me to focus more on some of these different issues, I think that does make her a real artist. I am kind of impressed with that. But on the other hand, I do think that with regard to selling through Sephora, the very first thing that I heard with regard to her selling through Sephora is that even if she was selling a different line through Sephora, that if people found out about her line through Sephora and then went on the website and they saw a bunch of different stuff on there, that they might be really offended or upset by it. And so the way that she resolved that situation is that you can see all of those old collections on the website, but in order to take a look at them, you actually need to sign up to be like a member of the website, and then you can go into the archives and take a look at all of those old releases. And right now it doesn't look like any of those old products are actually available for purchase, which kind of makes me feel like I should have purchased one of those lipstick cases to begin with, just for the sake of having them. But in any case, about a year ago, they did release refills for those lipsticks, and those are in just plain metal cases, and that is what I ended up purchasing. And that is the formula that I ended up really liking. And so all of those lip balm formulas are just available now in just plain metal cases that have a lid on them. But in terms of the actual formula of the lipstick balms, I think that these are really, really terrific. And so in terms of what she is selling at Sephora and what she is currently selling on the Isamaya website, this is a totally new collection that is called the Core Collection. And so it is supposed to be the kinds of basic products that you can wear every day. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually she comes out with, for instance, some new eyeshadow palettes, things like that. But this stuff is supposed to be really just basics. And it is supposed to have a medical aesthetic to it, and so it's supposed to be inspired by medical objects. And the idea here is that all of these products are supposed to have some ingredients in them that allow you to get some of the look that you might actually get if you went to the doctor to get cosmetic procedures. And so it comes in much sort of a plain packaging, which is black and white, and then it has small amounts of red in the print on it. And it has a lot of stainless steel color or actual metal in it. And some of the shapes in it also have to do with objects that are associated with medical procedures. And then she says that every single item in this line has some kind of an active ingredient in it that is something that goes beyond aesthetic and something that is actually helping your skin to look better or your face to look more like it has had, I guess, some kind of a cosmetic procedure done to it. And so personally, I really have never had any interest at all in getting any kind of medical procedures for cosmetic reasons, and that is something that I have not done and that I'm not planning to do. And so it may be that this does not resonate with me as much as it would resonate with some people. But I do think that some of these products seem like they may be especially appropriate for people who have skin like mine that is getting drier and that is getting less plump and that could be using some additional help in those areas. And I think that some of these products have worked nicely for me. And then one thing that I will say is that usually whenever I try a new brand, I tend to be really nervous because I do find that there are some brands that I just do not tend to be able to use at all, regardless of what the ingredients look like, because they tend to irritate my skin. And fortunately, everything that I have tried from this line so far seems to be working really, really well for me and not irritating my skin at all. And so that does make me feel more optimistic in terms of the quality of the ingredients that she is using. And she does state that she is very ingredient focused and very quality oriented. And so that does make me more interested in trying some more products from this line now that I've tried out some of them already. And at least of the products that I have purchased so far, all of them are made in Italy, and usually that is a sign that quality ingredients are being used and that my skin does do better with these products, as long as they don't have ingredients that I obviously cannot use in them, such as aluminum powder and fragrance. And so I am kind of optimistic that this may be one of the lines that I can turn to in the future and look to as one of my favorite lines that I do want to keep up with over time. And so if we look at the Sephora site, we can see which products are the best sellers. And so I thought that what I would do in this video is to start out with the products that are the best selling on Sephora so far and then work our way down. And Isamaya did do a video where she talked about all of the products that she is releasing really briefly, and so I would suggest taking a look at that video as well if you're interested in seeing what she has to say about them. Now, one thing that I will say with regard to the cosmetic products is that unfortunately the pictures that are on the Sephora website and on the Isamaya website, they are really pretty terrible in terms of giving you a sense of what these particular shades look like. And so in some of the cases, the shades are not depicted at all in terms of what they look like on people. And in most of the cases, they are not depicted on models with the variety of skin tones, even when they are depicted. And unfortunately, also on Sephora, in some cases, the pictures that they are putting that depict the shades are actually inaccurate, and they are using the same picture for a couple of different shades. And so I would suggest, if you are interested in that, that maybe going to the Instagram account for Isamaya, because they do seem to be adding some information on that page, and so you may be able to get a little bit of additional information on what the shades look like on that page. And so in terms of the best-selling products that are on the Sephora website, the one that seems to be doing the best so far is called Liplacq. And this is a product that was actually already being sold by Isamaya. I think this was part of their Wild Star collection. And so these are lip lacquers that serve as lip plumpers, and they are $38, and there are 6 shades. And so they are being cited as being an alternative to getting lip fillers. And what she says is that they are bee-stung lips without needles. Lips are left plumped with a vinyl-like finish, with supreme shine and without the stick. And what they include in them is methyl nicotinate, and this is like niacin. And so if you've ever taken niacin and you've had a flush from it, then that is basically what you are putting on your lips. And so it is giving that same kind of a flush type of an effect to the lips and causing the lips to expand a little bit, and for there to be a warming sensation. And then in addition to that, these include fragrance, hot pepper, ginger root oil, menthol, spearmint oil, and limonene. And then there's a couple of other additional ingredients, including carvone, which is a component of essential oils, and pinene, which is a component of aromatic plants. And then a skin conditioning ingredient called Lotus japonicus, and vitamin E, which is also moisturizing, plus hyaluronic acid and coffee extract. And so what she says is that these are supposed to boost hydration and provide long-lasting moisture to dry, damaged lips, volumizes and wraps in a fluid, glassy glow, warming sensation from botanical ingredients, adds sensorial touch, and incredible sparkle. Now, personally, this is kind of exactly the sort of product that I most try to avoid, because it does have a lot of ingredients in it that are irritating to the lips, in this case on purpose, and because it has artificial fragrance in it that I definitely don't either enjoy using, and that also does tend to be an irritant for my skin in general. And so this is not something that I have picked up. In general, I'm not all that interested in making my lips look bigger, and especially not a lot bigger, but I have found to be the case that some of the products that I've been using recently have had peptides in them, and I do feel like my lips have been looking naturally somewhat bigger just as a result of using those peptides, even though they have been irritating. At least I think it's a result of the peptides. So for instance, one of the products that I've been using is the line of lip balms from Augustinus Bader, and I do think that those have been very nice for my lips and have done nothing but create a nice feelings and maybe a nice look to my lips as well. So I think I am personally going to stick with stuff like that. But if you do like a lip gloss or a lip balm that is going to be really plumping, and that is going to be plumping in a way that's irritating, then this one does seem to be really popular, and people do seem to be giving it good reviews, and so I would be interested in hearing what people think of that. And then the Isamaya product that is considered to be the next bestseller is their line of metallic lip balms. And so there was one of these that was sold last year as part of their lip balm refill line on the Isamaya site. And now this has been expanded, so there are actually 8 different shades of these. And so I did get some pictures from the Instagram site of Isamaya trying on all of these lip balms. And so I picked up 2 of these. One is the original one, which is called Pantomime, which is a metallic pink with gold reflex. And then I have this new one, which is called Burnt Coral. And this is called a metallic burnt orange with iridescent gold reflex. And so I put on a little bit of this over a regular lip balm earlier today, but I'll put on a little bit more of this just so you can see what it looks like when I put a heavier layer down. And I would say that compared to other kinds of lip balms that I have seen that have been a little bit metallic, this one is much, much more metallic. And so it seems to be a little bit over the top at the moment. And so when I've been wearing this, I've mostly been wearing it more as like a lipstick topper. And so I will put down some kind of a lip balm or a lip crayon, something like that, and then just putting a little tiny bit of this over the top of it. But even when I put on a lot of it, I actually think it's actually quite pretty. And so I think that if this were to come more in fashion, I think I actually kind of like wearing it. I think it's actually very pretty, and this is a very comfortable product. I am not finding it to be irritating at all, and I'm not finding it to be uncomfortable at all. And sometimes when I wear lipsticks that seem like they're too metallic, I don't find them to be all that comfortable. But this one is perfectly comfortable, and I think it's actually really, really pretty. And so when I look at all of the shades that Isamaya tries on in this video and that I've seen other people trying on, I feel like the shaded rose one, that one might be especially wearable for me, and so I might pick that one up also at some point soon. But I actually think that all of these lipstick shades might be kind of wearable depending on what other kind of clothes I'm wearing, especially if they were more in style. So I'm kind of hoping that they become kind of popular because I do think that they're really, really pretty. And personally, I do kind of like wearing, for instance, metallic eyeshadows, and I think that these lipsticks are just as pretty in a similar way. And so, as I said, these were originally designed to go in those penis-shaped lipstick cases. Now they are making some metal lipstick cases that are also pretty expensive. And these are designed to be shaped like a pill. And those look like they are currently sold out on both the Isamaya website and on, not even available on the Sephora website yet. But you do not have to buy those cases in order to use these lipsticks because they do come in a regular case. And the case does have a lid on it. And the only issue that I see with this is that it does not state what the name of the shade is on the outside of the case at all. So if you have multiple shades of these, then you are not going to be able to have a very easy time figuring out what is in here unless you can just look at the lipstick and guess based on the color. Because unless you have really good eyesight, you can't even really read this sticker that is on the inside. It is very small print. And so I think that what I'm going to have to do is to get out some of my frog tape and write the names on these and then stick the tape on the outside, which is kind of annoying because this is actually kind of pretty if I didn't have tape stuck to it. And so I think that they could do a better job with that. I think it would be nice if, for instance, they made labels that we could put on the bottom here that would come with it and that you could stick on there if you chose. I think that expecting people to use lipsticks when they have no idea what's on the inside of them, I think that that is not very reasonable. But despite that, I do really, really like this formula. And I like the formula in the metallic ones just as much as I like the formula of the original lip balms. And I think it's something that I can wear over the top of really any kind of lipstick. I think that this works really, really well with lip crayons and lipsticks and other kinds of lip products. I think that in some cases when I put a lip balm of any kind over another lip product, that they do not necessarily work well together. And I think that in this case, that this particular lip balm has worked really, really well, regardless of what kind of lip product I have put on underneath it. And then the next product is the concealer. And so this is called the 5-Point Lift Concealer, and it is $40. And it comes in this huge container, which has a metal case to it. And so the idea with this is that it's almost like a syringe. And so at the bottom here, you have to turn this a little bit so that you can get some of the product to come out. And then the product will come out on this tip. And so you can put a little bit of the product either directly on your skin or on the back of your hand. This is a fairly light concealer. It's really quite translucent actually, and it has quite a bit of a shimmer to it. And so what I would say first is that if you were looking for actual coverage, for instance, the dark circles that are under your eyes or of any kind of blemishes that you might have on your face, this is really not going to be a very good concealer for that at all. That does not seem to be what this is meant to do. This is more like a shimmery foundation, and it does have quite a bit of shimmer in it, in my opinion, and it does have a little bit of a tint to it. And so what I have personally found is that if I am going to use this, then what I really need to do is to use some kind of a product underneath it to start out with. So for instance, some kind of a stick concealer, for instance, tends to work better for me. And so today what I did is that I used this Bobbi Brown color corrector underneath my eyes, and then I used this companion stick, which is a concealer from Bobbi Brown in the shade Warm Ivory, and I just used this to cover over little bits and pieces of redness on my face. And then after I did the concealing and correcting part, then I used this product from Isamaya to put it on to give it sort of a little bit of a glow over the top of it, and to make the texture of my skin look prettier, and also to give just a tiny little bit of a plumping look to the skin. And so what I kind of feel like this is like, as far as I'm concerned, it's a little bit like, for instance, the Jones Road with the foundation, or the Patrick Ta foundation, or the Makeup by Mario foundation, in that it's a little bit thick and it's certainly a little bit creamy. And when I put it on my skin, it gives not just the look that my skin is prettier in terms of the texture, but that it also is a little bit plumper. And so I do think that as you get older, that my skin, most people's skin, will tend to look a little bit more gaunt on the face because you lose fat volume. And I think that this is one of those products that tends to work well for people who are getting a bit older and who have lost some of that fat volume, and who would like to simulate the look of that by putting a product on the face. And if I look at it in this way, then I think it's actually really nice, because when I put it on I've just been putting it really on my cheeks. I've not been using it on other parts of my face. I don't think that it's worked very well when I put it on other kinds of my face, because it does have a lot of shimmer in it. And when I put a lot of this product on, for instance, my chin or anywhere on my T-zone, it tends to just start to look too sweaty and really not that attractive. But I feel like if I keep it in this area that's like under my eyes and to the side of my eyes and like on my cheeks, I think that it's actually looking really, really nice, and that it does give the look of youth. And so for that reason, I do really like this product quite a bit. And I also am liking it quite a bit because it doesn't have any kind of a fragrance in it. It doesn't have any kind of natural fragrance in it. And so unlike some products like the Jones Road with the foundation, it doesn't cause any irritation to my skin, and so I am able to use it without any kind of concerns like that. So I am really happy about that also. And so in terms of how it's worked for me, I actually do really, really like it quite a bit. Whether or not I'm using it in the way that they are imagining that I'm going to be using it, I am not sure, because I'm not sure that they're exactly clear in terms of what they are hoping you are going to be doing with it. Now, in terms of what they say about it, they are saying that this is supposed to be lifting the face, accentuating bone structure, hiding dark circles, and that it has marine extract in it that is supposed to help to combat dullness. It's supposed to be brightening the eye area, and it is supposed to be revitalizing, depuffing, and a fatigue eraser. And then they are saying that this is supposed to sculpt, lift, and illuminate your face in 5 key areas, and they never really say what those 5 key areas are, so that has confused me quite a bit. But what they say is that it is supposed to erase fatigue with a single swipe, reducing puffiness and dark circles around the eyes, along with reflective pearl to highlight cheekbones, nose, and forehead, while hydrating and smoothing for a wide-awake, luminous look. It's 10 hours of sleep in a bottle. And then in terms of ingredients, in addition to that marine bioactives, it also includes caffeine and squalane and then some other kind of moisturizing ingredients and sort of shimmery type of particles. And then even though in the copy they are saying that you can use it on your nose, on your forehead, and basically all over your face, it seems like in the video footage that Isamaya herself is really just putting it in her under eye area and then on the sides of her mouth. And I do use it on those areas, and then I have tended to do well when I've just put it on my cheeks in general. And so that's how I have been using it. So you can see in this video footage what it looks like when I put it on the T-zone, but I don't really think that that is something that I'm going to be doing in the future. Now, one thing that I will say about this product is that it does tend to be pretty expensive on a per milliliter basis. And so, for instance, if we compare this to the Serum concealer or the Westman Atelier concealer, those are concealers that I am using a lot less of that product in terms of the amount that I'm putting on my face, and that is actually serving as a real concealer to cover up stuff, whereas this seems to have a very different look to it, and it's really not working as a concealer. I think it's more like a complexion enhancer, and that it's sort of providing a little bit better texture and appearance to my skin in general. And it's more expensive on a per milliliter basis. Now, I think it's possible that eventually that they will sell this in terms of there being a refill. And maybe if you didn't have to buy this whole container of it, that it might be less expensive on a per milliliter basis. But still, this is not a cheap product. And so therefore, conserving it a little bit and just using it on the areas that I think are really going to benefit from it, including underneath my eyes and in this cheek area, I think that that is the way that I'm going to continue to use it. However, I do think that when I use it in that way, that it provides a really nice little boost to my complexion and makes me look, I think, a little bit younger, like sort of automatically with almost no work. That does make me a little convinced that I should continue to use this. And so I think that I am going to continue to at least use up this tube and see how much I like it by the time I'm done with this, and then maybe buy it again, because so far I am feeling good about it for that reason. And so I've just been using this for about a week or so, and so I'm not sure how long this tube is going to last. I kind of doubt it's going to last anywhere near as long as some of the other concealing products that I have, or certainly the foundations that I have, because there's a limited amount of product in this container, and the way that it's dispensed does encourage you to use quite a bit of it, and I do think I need to use a fair amount in order to sort of cover over my whole cheek area and to give me the look that I'm looking for. And so, you know, there are some products, for instance, like the Serum concealer, that seem like they're really expensive based on the cost per the bottle, but then when you start to go to use them, you realize that there's a lot more product in them than you were anticipating, and that it's really not that expensive after all. And I am starting to feel like this is probably the opposite with regard to that. And then the other real downside to this product, I think, is that there are only 5 shades. And so I think that this shade for me has been perfectly fine, and I think it is such a sheer product that there is some flexibility in terms of people being able to use a shade that might not be ideal for them. But still, I think that 5 shades is really a very, very small range, and that probably most people will not be able to find a shade that is particularly good for them in that 5-shade range. And I think it may also be a little difficult, unless this actually comes to the store, to figure out exactly which shade might be the best for you, at least based on the information that they are providing so far on the website and on their Instagram page. And then the next product is the Skin Enhancing Duos, and these are $39, and so this is a pair with a blush and a highlighter, and both of these are cream products, and so this is the product that I have, which is called Saffron. And what they are saying is that it is supposed to give a fresh, natural blushed look. And there are 8 different shades that are available, or 8 different color combinations that are available. And they are suggesting that this can be used on both the cheeks as well as on the eyes and on the lip. And so what they are saying about this is that it is supposed to have a hydrolock complex that is supposed to nourish and lock in hydration. And then also it is supposed to be brightening skin and reducing pigmentation. And some of the ingredients that are included in this include licorice, vanillin, squalane, marshmallow root, and rapeseed oil. And I am usually not a fan of vanillin at all, and I really am not smelling or tasting anything at all when I put this on, so I don't think that the amount of vanillin that they are using is very much. And my experience with this product is that I think that the blush and the highlighter in this are drastically different formulas. And I feel like the blush in this is actually quite similar to the Merit blush that is called their Flush Balm. So this is a very, very thin cream formula, and it stays in place reasonably well, better than you would think, based on how thin it is and how creamy it is. And I do think it's pretty, and it's very easy to get a really natural look. And you can easily put it on with either your fingers or with a brush. But I do think that this is somewhat of a different formula than really almost all of the other blush that I have used, because for the most case, I would say that blushes tend to be quite a bit more dry, and they tend to be quite a bit more creamy and kind of thick. And this one is definitely very thin and very emollient. And then in terms of the highlighter here, I would say that this is actually getting really, really close to the Jones Road Miracle Balm. So it's a smaller amount of it, and it's a little bit softer. You don't need to break the seal exactly. But in terms of it having definitely a creamy and wet and a very balmy and kind of thick type of a formula, I think that this is definitely doing that. And so I think that the Miracle Balm is another one of those products that puts a layer of a product on the skin of people who are maybe getting a bit older, and that when it does that, it does provide the look that there's sort of more fat volume on the face, and so therefore it gives a little bit of a look of plumpness and prettiness in addition to the moisture. And I think that this particular highlighter is doing the same thing. And so I do think that that is very pretty as well. And I think it works really well. It's not irritating as well at all. It doesn't have any kind of fragrance ingredients in it. And I have found my skin to like it very, very much. Now, I don't feel like there's any problem at all when I use either of these products on my lips. But on the other hand, I don't think that this is exactly the ideal product that I would put on my lips either. So that's a little bit of the blush, and then I'll put a little bit of this highlighter on my lips. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting that on my lips in an emergency, but that is not something that I would probably ever use other than that. And this is such a big case, I don't think that I would probably take it on the road with me for the most part. But I think that putting it on at home, it's a very pretty little product. I don't think I would put this on my eyes, not that there's anything wrong with that either. It's just probably not something I would choose to do personally. So in general, what I would say about this is that it gives a really natural looking blush. It also gives a kind of a plumping and hydrating highlighter and I think that both of those are super pretty. And so I think if I'm going for a really natural type of a no makeup look, which I usually am, that these are products that I think I would be able to use. And so even though I picked a color that I thought would be particularly flattering for me, I think this is probably the kind of product that I could probably pick any of the shades that they are offering, and that they would all probably look really nice on me, I would think. And so I guess what I would say is that probably in my imagination, when I think about reaching for this product, I kind of think, oh, that's probably not going to do that much. I probably should pick out something else. But I do feel like whenever I put this product on, that the way that I end up looking tends to be really nice in terms of looking natural, looking fresh, looking young, and that makes me a little bit more inclined to keep using it. And then the next product is the color correcting serum. And the color correcting serum, first of all, it comes in a very odd packaging. And so it is in a glass jar, and then the glass jar does not come with this nozzle on the top of it. Instead, it comes with a silicone stopper in it, and then on top of the silicone stopper there is this metal ring. And so it almost reminds me of the kind of packaging that I used to get when I was giving myself vitamin B12 shots. And so it actually is in a glass bottle. And so in this case, you have to take off this stopper and take off this metal stuff, and then you put this silicone nozzle on the top of it. And then after that, of course, this is a pretty thick serum. And so when you turn it over like this is hard glass. And so to get this out, you kind of need to like let it sit for a few minutes, and then you need to squeeze this until some drops of this product come out. And I am not sure how easy this is going to be to dispense as the container gets more and more empty, but so far at this point it's not too bad, and the product is fairly sort of like a thin cream. And so if I put a pretty heavy coat on my hand, then I guess you can see a little bit of this lilac shade. But I feel like I probably would never use that much of that product on my face. And that when I put it on my face, it is less really color correcting. And it is more like it is just putting a very, very mild shimmer on my face. And so this comes in several different shades. And the lilac shade is one that is supposed to be brightening and appropriate for fair skin. And one thing that I have found recently is that I feel that putting down some kind of a pink powder on my skin has looked nice on me if I don't use too much of it. And I think that the reason for that is maybe because as I've gotten older, my skin has become a little bit more sallow because there's not as much blood flow to the face. And so therefore, if I put just a very light layer of a pink powder down, such as the pink powder that Jones Road offers, that can be really pretty on my skin. And so I do like using that. And then recently I did pick up this product from NARS, which is called the Interstellar Light Reflecting Prismatic Powder. And this one has kind of a combination of lilac and peach in it. And I feel like whenever I use this particular powder as like a finishing powder on my skin, I do think that this has been really pretty too, in terms of giving my skin a really pretty kind of a glow and a little bit, again, of a brightening type of a look. So I thought that it might be worth it to try this lilac color correcting serum as well. And I guess I've kind of been torn between thinking, gee, my skin I think looks kind of nice, and then wondering if it's actually really doing anything at all. So it is really, really subtle in terms of the color, and probably that is okay. And I think that if anything, it does also just give it a tiny little bit of a shimmer. And I think that as long as I'm only putting on a very light layer, that actually looks very natural. And at least on my skin, that even if I'm using it sort of all over my whole face, that it just gives it a very, very subtle look of radiance, like it's just a little bit younger and a little bit healthier, which I think is nice. So again, I feel like this is one of those products that I kind of am questioning whether or not this is actually worth it, and whether it's actually necessary for me to be using it all, and whether or not I should even bother with it even now that I own it. But in the end, I do think that both in person and on camera, that I am feeling like I'm looking fairly nice when I do use this product. And this is something that I'm putting on first as a base. So I haven't been putting this on over anything else that I've been wearing. I've just been putting this directly on my bare skin after I put a little moisturizer down. Now, in terms of the other shades of this, the other shades of these all tend to be leaning a little bit more on the green side, it looks like. And so the second shade is sort of like a bright green, but also fairly translucent. And so it seems to be the case that if you have light skin and you have some redness on your skin, that this is supposed to be dulling down that redness and making your skin look a little bit more neutral in color. And I do think that there was a time that my skin did tend to be kind of on the reddish side, and that I would have appreciated that. But I think that the more that I have been really, really picky in terms of not using any products that irritate my skin at all, and also recently I have been using small amounts of some of the products from Dr. Barbara Sturm, and I think that in addition to those products not being irritating, I think that those actually have caused most of the redness on my face to actually not be an issue for me at all. So it used to be that I used to always have to take like a color correcting pencil and cover over those little bits of redness on my face in order to have my skin look clear. And I don't seem to have to do that as much anymore now that I've been using those Dr. Barbara Sturm products. And so I didn't feel like I needed to go ahead and buy that bright green color corrector. But I think that for people that do have redness on their skins, that could be worth trying. And then the third shade of this is one that's described as like an olive. And so I think that either for people who have somewhat darker skin, which also has a little bit of redness on it, but maybe especially if you have olive type skin, that could be a product that is worth experimenting with. And I think that there are a lot of people that have olive skin that do have a hard time finding foundation type products to use on it. And so if that were me, I think that would probably be a product that I would use, is that olive colored one. And I did see one YouTube video from someone named Heather Austin, and her skin is darker than mine, and it also does look like she has quite a bit of redness on her skin, she says. And so she got the shade, I think it was the third shade, the one that's supposed to be olive, and she put this all over her face. And it did look like it toned down the redness quite a bit. And so I think that for people who have skin that's somewhat darker than mine and that is on the reddish side, that could be a product that is worth trying, even if you don't necessarily have olive skin to begin with. And then I think that there are two more shades of this one, which also lean a little bit green, but are darker shades for people with darker skin tones. And I haven't seen anyone with darker skin tones use those. And so I would be interested to hear from some people like that to see if they think that this product is worth using. Now, when I looked at the pictures that are on the Isamaya website, what I realized is that for people with light skin, she is using two different colors of this product on all of the light skin models. So she is using both the green color and also this lilac color. So I guess what she is doing is using the green color in areas that look reddish, and then she's using this more as like a highlighting type of a product, which would be quite expensive to purchase both of those. I don't know that you need to be doing that. But I also think that it might just be the case that this is not really doing all that much in terms of making a noticeable difference, especially one that you can really see on camera. Now, personally, what I kind of have come to think is that my skin is actually sort of the opposite of green, and that anytime I put any green on my skin, it tends to look a little bit strange. And I think that the reason is because my skin tends to lean a lot more peach, which is the opposite of green. And I think that the fact that this particular product has both the lilac and the peach in it is why this particular product works for me really, really well. And so I'm a little bit disinclined to actually be putting green on my skin unless I'm really trying to correct for redness. And so I kind of wish that they had one of these that was peach. And if they did, then I would be kind of interested in trying that because I think that might actually bring out some of the undertones of my skin in a nice way. And so I think that it really depends on what kind of skin tone you have, how well you do with these particular products. Now, one thing that I will mention at this point is that it seems like Isamaya has a whole lot of products, and I am not absolutely sure that the best thing to be anticipating is to buy all of the products that Isamaya is offering and then use all of them. I don't know that that is even necessarily what is being recommended, because they are using a lot of different primers and skin helpers. And if you use all of these things at once, I think it might be a little bit overkill. And so, for instance, you can see in some of this video footage what it looks like when I just use this color corrector on my skin and when I don't use the concealer from them in the same time. I think that both of those products are kind of on the shimmery side. So if you are going to use both of those at the same time, then you want to start to be a little bit restrained about it, because otherwise your skin can look really shimmery really fast. And then a number of the other products that they are offering also are offering priming benefits and more glowy benefits and more benefits that are more dewy looking. And I don't know that your skin needs to look all that dewy with all those different products on them. So I would more suggest probably thinking of these as options that you can be using to be giving yourself more of a youthful, glowy, pretty look, rather than something that you should be using every product that they offer all at once. And as I say, if you have any kind of real dark circles under your eyes or you have any kind of blemishes, then I don't think you should be expecting these Isamaya products to be addressing those. I think that you may need to be using these Isamaya products in combination with other products that you have come to like. And then the next product in terms of the best sellers at Sephora is the Sculpting Stick. And this one is $40. And what she is suggesting is that you can use this to contour your eye area, your nose, maybe around your lips like lipstick, and then to sculpt out the cheekbones. So what I will say first is that I tend not to do any of these things. So I definitely am not interested in sculpting out under my cheekbones. I've never had very much success with that. And I'm not really interested in sculpting my nose. And I do use a brown eyeshadow on occasion on my eyes. And so I wouldn't have any problem using this sculpting stick for that. But I wasn't sure that I needed another plain brown eyeshadow as the first product from this line that I purchased. And so in general, I feel like that particular product that she's offering, it's very similar to these ones from Victoria Beckham that I already have. So Victoria Beckham has a product that is called the Contour Stylus. And so I have this in the color of travertine. And so if I wanted to put just a tiny little bit of sculpting under my cheeks, I could do that. But every time I've done this, I've ended up not liking the way that it's looked. And so I didn't think I needed another product to do that. And this product is specifically designed like this because Victoria Beckham wanted to contour her nose, but I'm not really interested in contouring my nose. And in terms of cost per gram or cost per milliliter, this is almost exactly the same price as the Isamaya product. And then I also have this product from Victoria Beckham, which is called Pecan, which is one of her eyeshadows. And I do use this from time to time. And so I did put this on my eyes today. And so I would imagine that this is about the shade, about the kind of look that you would be getting if you were to use just that eye pencil that she is offering on her eye, which is the only eyeshadow that she's offering at this time. Now, there are 11 different shades of contour that she is offering, and so that is quite a lot of different shades, and so there are cool versus neutral shades for each of the different levels, and she is suggesting that this is a stick that is going to go on really easily, but then when you blended it in, that it should stay in place really, really well. So personally, my feeling with regard to contour is that, first of all, the reason that this became so popular is because a lot of YouTubers are using really bright studio lights that wash out their complexion, and then they are also using really heavy foundation, and so they need to bring back in some of the dimension of their faces because their faces have such heavy foundation on them. But I don't think that usually my skin does very well if I use really heavy foundation. I think that just makes me look a lot more older and a lot more wrinkled, and I am using natural lights rather than studio bright lights. And so even on camera, I don't think I need to be using that much dimension. And I also think that as I have gotten older, that my face has already become more gaunt, and so I don't really need to be emphasizing my cheekbones by using more contour. But if you are the kind of person that would like to use contour, then I think that this could be possibly a really good product. And from what I am hearing from people, that does seem to be one of the products that people are liking the most. And then in terms of lip liners, you know, the only other product that I had ever purchased from Isamaya before this particular video is this Spur Stick, which was part of their Wildstar line. And so I picked this one up just to give one more product from them a try. And this turned out to be not a good lip liner at all, and it broke up for a bunch of different times for me, and I wasn't really able to draw it on. It was really quite dry, so I think that this may have been a defective product for me. And they did give me back my money without any problem, so that was really easy. But in any case, I was a little bit nervous about buying this new lip liner, but it turned out that this lip liner seems to be very, very similar to many of the other good lip liners that I've tried. And this is just a plain sharpenable lip liner, so it is one that you need to it's just a plain wooden pencil. And so I think this is a perfectly nice product. One thing that I will say is that their color selection is a little bit interesting, because it seems like almost all of the shades that they are offering are either different shades of black or different shades of dark brown. And there's only a couple of them that seem like they're ones that I would probably feel really comfortable wearing. But in general, I think that these are really must be designed to create the kind of a lip look where the lining of your lips looks a lot darker than the lips themselves, which is a little bit fashionable right now, but I don't know that that's necessarily a look that I am interested in wearing all the time. And so they are supposed to be tonal lip liners, and regardless of which color you bought, they are supposed to work with any lipstick that you have. And the color that I have is called Bourbon, and this is a medium pink, and I would say that even this one, it definitely has a lot of browniness to it. And I think that that probably would work fine with most of the lipsticks that I do use. But that in general, I think that that's a very nice lip liner. And so if you're looking for a lip liner that is really neutral, and especially if you're looking for one that is leaning more on the dark side, that this would be one to possibly consider, because I think it performs fairly well. And they are $28, so that is you know, a little bit on the high end for a lip liner, but it's not what I consider to be totally outrageous. And then all the way down at number 9 on the list of their most popular products are these lip balms that I like so much. So I still think that these lip balms are really being overlooked by most people, and that they are really unusual in terms of how well they perform, especially when I put them on over other kinds of lip products. And I think that in terms of the way that they look on my lips, and in terms of some of these colors, I think that they all just are really, really nice. And especially if I put them on over, for instance, a lip pencil. So for instance, if I put them on over some of my shades of MAC lip pencils, or some of my shades of Chanel lip pencils, that these are a really, really nice little topper on them, and that my lips look really, really good, and that they do last for quite a long period of time. And so the shades that we have, I think that the most well-known one of these is the black one, and this is called Vanity, and it is a black color, but it is a really, really sheer color. And in this case, if I just put this black lipstick on my bare lips, that it makes it more look like it is sort of a black cherry sort of a color, or that I've been like kissing, and so I think that that is a really pretty color. And then the other shades that they have, there is one that is called Justice, and this is a shade that is clear, but it has just a little bit of a shift in it, like a pearly type of a shift. So it doesn't have as much of a metallic type of a shift as the metals lipsticks, but it just has a little bit of a glow to it. And the one that is called Mortal, I think this one is closest to being like a nude type of a shade, and so that one's really easy to wear. The one that is called Thorns is supposed to be like a rose shade, that's why it's called Thorns. And so I think that that is a really pretty dusty rose shade that's also been really easy for me to wear. Follow is a shade that is kind of on the brownie side, so they are describing this as a shade that's leaning towards rose, but I think that it definitely has a good bit of brown in it and a little bit of a shimmer. And I think that that one has been, especially now that sort of 1990s looks are in, I think that that one is really, really wearable as well. And retrograde is kind of a plummy type of a look that leans just a little bit on the purplish pink side. And I think that that's kind of a berry look that I think is brings out the shape of my lips a little bit more and is a little bit darker. And then the flamingo one is a bright pink. And that one is one that I would more just wear in the summer because it is quite on the bright side. And then there is a bright red shade that is called Cardinal and that I picked up a year ago. And this is a totally different formula than these other lipsticks. And this is a lipstick that is a real lipstick, and it has cherry oil in it. And I think that in terms of it being a moisturizing lipstick with a lot of pigment that goes on really beautifully and that is really feels good on the lips, and that I can wear over other kinds of products or with other kinds of products on the top of it. I think this has been a really, really terrific formula. Now, unfortunately, it is a very, very saturated red color, and I don't necessarily do really well with really saturated reds, and so I haven't worn it that much for this reason. But in terms of the formula of this lipstick, I think that this may be one of the best lipstick formulas on the market. And so what I really would like for them to do is to come out with some more lipsticks with this formula in different shades. But in the meantime, I do think that for people who are lipstick wearers of bright red lipsticks, that this would definitely be one that I would recommend picking up, because I don't think that nearly enough people have picked this up. Now, it's a little bit odd because when I looked at both the Isamaya website and the Sephora website, both of them are not listing the ingredients to this that are the ones that make it clear that this is a different formula, but I don't think that they've come out with a lip balm formula of this. I think that they're still selling this one and that they've neglected to put the ingredients down, but I did write to them and ask them about that, and so hopefully they will write me back soon and I can put this in the comments section to verify that that is the case. But in the meantime, I will just put this lipstick on, and so you can see what it looks like on my lips, because I do think that in terms of the performance of this has been really terrific. So for me, I think that this color is really way too bright. But I did shoot some previous footage where I put this on a lot more judiciously, and I put on some balm over it, and so you can see what it looks like when I tried to tone it down a little bit. But in general, I think that in terms of how well this goes on, and in terms of how easily it went on, and how pretty it looks, and how good it feels on my lips, even though this is really not the right color for me, I do think that this formula is really, really fantastic. And so that is all of the products that I have tried so far, but there are several more products that I haven't tried out yet that I am still thinking about getting. And so I thought I would go over each of those pretty quickly also. So the first one is called the Hyalurolip Plumper with hyaluronic acid, and this is a lip balm type product that is $38. And she says that this is a treatment that is disguised as a gloss. And one thing that Isamaya says is that it has a ingredient in it that is called a Griffonia extract, and this is supposed to elevate serotonin levels and to help people to feel happier. So I don't know if that is actually has any merit to that claim or not. And then it also has some passion flower seed oil and some vitamin E and a number of different kinds of hyaluronic acid in it. Now, one thing that does make me a bit concerned about this is that it has a sunscreen ingredient in it that is called DESM. And this is a sunscreen booster, but it seems to work differently than the sunscreen boosters that have irritated my lips and that have been similar to the official sunscreens that are chemical sunscreens that are on the market. And so I am not sure if that is an ingredient that I would react negatively to or not. I haven't seemed to have encountered it in too many other products. So that is one reason that I didn't go ahead and purchase this one right off the bat. But I think that this may be enough different than the sunscreen boosters that are irritating for me that I would be willing to at least try it. And so this is a product that does not seem like it is designed to irritate the lips. It more seems designed to actually heal the lips and to make them healthier. And so that does make me a little bit interested in giving it a try, possibly. And then the next product is called the Microbial Gel Face Prep Primer, and this is $40. And Isamaya is describing this as being the ultimate primer which protects the skin from pollutants, dust, and anything that might affect it and cause it to be irritated. And so it has some prebiotics in it, it has some caffeine in it, and it has 4 different kinds of hyaluronic acid. And the fact that it is supposed to be protecting the skin does make me feel like this is a little bit appealing, because I do like the idea of using primers on my skin that can cause my skin to be a little bit protected against any other kind of products that I might put on top of it. And of course, at first when I started thinking about these Isamaya products, I was fearful that they all might irritate my skin, but I've had such good experiences with the makeup products that I've tried so far in terms of their feeling really good on my skin and not causing any irritation at all, that I am a little bit more interested in actually experimenting with some of these skincare products. And so I actually would like to try this. I think that I might wait until, for instance, the Sephora sale before I actually purchase it, or I wonder if there's any way that I could get a sample of it or a free trial of the product just to see how well I did with it. But in general, I think that this one might have some potential for me, so I would like to give this one a try. And then Isamaya also offers a mascara, and the mascara is supposed to have some growth factors in it, and it is not supposed to be the kind of growth factors that would make me really nervous. So typically when mascaras have growth factors in them, or lash serums, they tend to have things that are called prostaglandin analogs, and that is not something I feel really comfortable with. And I have actually heard recently that this is one of the things that can cause people to have hollows under their eyes. So even if I weren't theoretically concerned about it, the concept that it would make under eye hollows, that would make me a little more concerned. But this one does not seem to have anything like that in it, and it does seem to have some ingredients in it that I'm not sure if I would be able to tolerate. But the main ingredient in this that seems to be causing the lashes to grow is a peptide. So this is called myristoyl pentapeptide 17, which is supposed to be helpful for lash growing. And in general, my experience has been that peptides seem to be okay for me. I don't think I've ever had any experiences reacting to peptides, so my hope would be that maybe I would be okay with this one as well. And what they are saying is that this particular peptide has potentially the ability to increase lash length by up to 25% when used consistently. And then some of the other ingredients that are in this product that also might be helpful with regard to growing lashes are the green tea extract and some zinc chloride. And then in addition, it has a couple of other ingredients in it that also might be helpful, including amla, which is Indian gooseberry. And then it also has Larix europaea wood extract, which is from the European larch tree. And one thing about this mascara that does make me think that maybe I will pick it up is that it is available in brown as well as black. And I don't know if I would be able to tolerate it. And in general, a lot of mascaras do cause my eyes to be irritated. But still, especially if I can get this on sale, like during the Sephora sale, I may still go ahead and pick it up in order to compare it against some of the other brown mascaras that I have been liking. And then there is a product that is called Face Glaze, and this is $38 for 19 milliliters. And this is supposed to be kind of like a glassy type of a highlighting balm that can be used on the cheekbones, or they say you can use it on the eyelids. And it comes in a container with a really long microfine tip, sort of like a long needle. So when I remember what the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid blush looks like with that long tip on it, it looks like this is the same kind of applicator. And they are saying that this has some ingredients in it that are supposed to help to stimulate collagen. And so this does have some algae in it, and I always am a little bit concerned about algae because I feel like it can be contaminated with cyanobacteria toxin or metals or other things from the sea. And sometimes I think that products that have algae in them are okay for me, and then sometimes the same products will not be okay. And I do think that that may have to do with contamination changes over time. And so that does make me a little bit nervous about it. And this is a little bit on the expensive side, but I would actually really like to just go to Sephora and give it a try in the store and see what it looks like on my skin, and also how my skin reacts to it. So I don't know if these Isamaya products are going to be available in my local Sephora or not. I think that they are going to be available in some Sephora stores, but the ones that are close to me, there really aren't any really big Sephora stores that are really close to me. And so if I can give it a try, I definitely will. And otherwise, maybe I would be interested in picking this up and actually buying it and giving it a try. And they are claiming this has a phytocollagen activator in it, and that this is supposed to encourage the skin to actually grow new collagen. I don't know if I believe that or not, actually. So that is something that I would really have my doubts about. But nonetheless, I'd be interested in trying the product now that I am decided that a lot of these Isamaya products are working well for me. And then finally, she has a liquid eyeliner, and this comes with a felt tip pen that is really sharp. So it looks to me, in terms of the ingredients and in terms of the type of product that it is that it's really quite similar to this Kitten Flick product from Lisa Eldridge that I have. And so I did pick this one up. I was a little bit concerned about the ingredient list for this one, but I think it's been fine for me in terms of not irritating my eyes. And I think that as eyeliner this goes on pretty easily. I still don't wear it a whole lot. And for one thing, I'm not really feeling like I can use an eyeliner that gives me a cat flick eye or a kitten flick eye, because I have little wrinkles on the side of my eyelids that seem to get in the way of the way that cat eye would go. But nonetheless, I think that this was actually a really nice little eyeliner. And so I think that if you're interested in a black liquid eyeliner, that this Lisa Eldridge one has been very nice. And I think it may be the case that this Isamaya one is also very nice, and it does look very similar. And she is claiming that this is an ultra-fine and smudge-proof eyeliner that will help you to define your look with effortless precision. So this one just comes in black, and the other thing is that I think that if I'm going to be using an eyeliner, I seem to be doing better with either the brown shade or the blue shade, which, for instance, Jones Road is offering in their new eyeliner product. And so that makes me a little bit disinclined to go ahead and pick this one up. And I had kind of thought that eyeliners were really popular these days and that younger people were really liking them, but so far this particular product hasn't been super popular, at least not on Sephora. But if I had a chance to give it a try, I bet it's a perfectly fine product for what it is. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And if there are any other new products that you have been trying out recently, or that you have become interested in, that you would like for me to try out, or that you would like to hear about from other people, then please let us know about all of that in the comments section. In addition, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, then I hope that you will go ahead and do that. And also, if you enjoyed this video, then I hope you will hit like, because supposedly that helps the algorithm. And so thank you very much again for watching, and Coco and I love you very much. So goodbye. La
da 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 boom boom.